America, Donald Trump refuses to say President Obama's born in the U.S. Again, back on the trail, Hillary Clinton pounces.
He still wouldn't say Hawaii. He still wouldn't say America. This man wants to be our next president?
The race tightening as Trump goes on late-night television to let his hair down.
Go ahead with my hairspray.
And Donald Trump Jr. taking heat for his own comments about the gas chamber. He's responding here live this morning.
State of emergency declared by 2 governors after a major gas pipeline breaks, spilling 250,000 gallons of gasoline. Now new concerns along the East Coast that gas prices could skyrocket.
Official recall. Samsung finally forced to pull its exploding phones in the U.S., refunding and replacing nearly 1 million after reports of overheating. Cars igniting and 26 people burned as Apple's new iPhone goes on sale around the world this morning.
The secret life of O.J. Simpson. The new report revealing how he spends his days behind bars. The former football star now sharing a cell in prison with another inmate and reportedly keeping a picture with Nicole Brown Simpson on his shelf, all as O.J. makes a new push for freedom.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. Happy Friday. Robin and Michael out on assignment today. We have a lot to get to. Just 53 days until the election, and new national polls show a dead heat between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
And then, George, a lot of people reacting to that bizarre, uncomfortable moment overnight with Donald Trump's hair on late-night TV.
That was bizarre. But also, so was Donald Trump's interview with the Washington Post last night, where he refused again to acknowledge that President Obama was born in the U.S. His son and advisor, Donald Trump Jr., standing by. We're going to talk to him in a moment. But let's get all the latest first from ABC's Tom Yamas on the trail in Washington, D.C. Good morning, Tom.
George, good morning to you. The Trump campaign now saying the Republican nominee has changed his mind on where President Obama was born. Donald Trump was the biggest and loudest voice in the birther movement. But now, with less than 2 months to go before the election, Trump seems to be waffling on an issue he spent so much time, money, and energy on.
Overnight, the Trump campaign announcing the candidate is no longer a birther, sending out this statement announcing having successfully obtained President Obama's birth certificate when others could not, Mr. Trump believes that President Obama was born in the United States. The statement attributed to a campaign spokesperson, not Trump himself. The apparent reversal coming after the Washington Post posted a new story and interview overnight of Trump himself refusing to say whether he believes the president was born in the U.S. Trump quoted as saying, "I'll answer that question at the right time. I just don't want to answer it yet." Critics of Trump's birther stance say it's deep-rooted in racism because President Obama is black. Hillary Clinton seized on the new Washington Post story.
He still wouldn't say Hawaii. He still wouldn't say America. This man wants to be our next president?
And Trump's son, Don Jr., also being accused of being insensitive for his use of the phrase gas chamber in this attack on the media.
They've let her slide on every, indiscrepancy, on every lie, on every DNC game trying to get Bernie Sanders out of the thing. I mean, if Republicans were doing that, they'd be warming up the gas chamber right now.
The Trump campaign insisting he was not talking about the Holocaust. Trump reacting to the clashes his children are encountering on the campaign trail.
Boy, the press likes to hit them, right? Boy, the press likes to hit them. And they're such good kids, but they can take it.
Trump also showing that he can take it.
Can I mess your hair up?
Overnight, Trump letting Jimmy Fallon go where no man has gone before, deep into his golden locks.
Go ahead with my hairspray.
Trump, a good sport about the late-night gag, but quickly trying to reset that famous hairdo.
So Trump, like we've never seen him before, and this morning apparently taking a position many thought he never would. Now, we want to reiterate, Donald Trump has yet to say it himself that he believes President Obama was born in Hawaii. This is his campaign. And we're reminded of a tweet he sent out back in May. Back then, Trump said this. Let's put it on the screen. He wrote, "Don't believe the bias and phony media quoting people who work for my campaign. The only quote that matters is a quote from me." George, we're still waiting on that quote.
Thank you, Tom. We're going to talk now to Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization, close advisor to his father. As I said, you're one of your father's closest advisor. Why can't he and won't he say that President Obama was born in the U.S.?
I mean, I think he said it last night. What he doesn't want to do...
He didn't say it last night.
His campaign spokesperson, who he was speaking to last night, and I was with the team when they were doing it, drafted a statement to say just that. What he doesn't want to do, he doesn't want to get off message. He doesn't want to create another story. He wants to talk about jobs. He wants to talk about his economic plan.
To acknowledge that President Obama was born in the United States.
He wants to talk about jobs for Americans. He wants to talk about his revolutionary plan for women and working mothers these days. Those are the things we got to talk about. You know, we don't want to create a gossip scenario all over this thing. This is the presidency of the United States. We want to talk about the issues and putting Americans back to work.
But he's the only person who can put this to rest. In the past, his campaign has said he believes that your father has not said himself, yes, President Obama was born in the United States. I was wrong to question.
That is coming from him because I was involved in those conversations. He's going to put the head of his campaign spokesperson is putting it out. That's from the campaign. What he has said in the past, hey, don't believe what you read when someone says a source close to the campaign. You know, don't believe what those people say, because those are guys trying to get media.
Last week, Kellyanne Conway's campaign manager put out a statement saying, oh, Donald Trump believes that the president was born here in the United States. Yet, when Donald Trump has the chance to do that yesterday himself, he refuses to do it.
This is coming from him, and I was involved in those conversations.
Are we going to hear him say those words?
I don't know, but this should be the definitive end of it. You know, we thought it was the definitive end when he acknowledged that, hey, we got the Obama to release his birth certificate then. But again, we want to talk about jobs. We don't want to talk about gossip.
Well, he's been talking about it for years, but he can end it by simply saying, yes, the president was born in the United States. I was wrong to question it.
I believe that's what he did last night.
But that's not what he did.
Well, we're going to have to disagree on that, but that's coming from him. And again, I know that because I was part of the conversation.
He has the ability to send out a tweet where he says, this is what I believe. But let's talk about you as well. You saw those comments you made about the gas chamber, drawing a lot of questions from the Anti-Defamation League. Here's what they say. We hope you understand the sensitivity and hurt of making Holocaust jokes. We hope you retract. Will you retract?
I didn't say anything about the Holocaust. I was talking about media bias. I was talking about if you're a conservative, it's essentially capital punishment. Even Jake Tapper from CNN said, listen, Donald Trump Jr. put out the same thing. He played the clip yesterday on his Twitter account. I said the same thing 2 weeks ago about the media bias, and I used the term electric chair. It was poor choice of words, perhaps, but in no way, shape, or form was I ever even remotely talking about the Holocaust. I wouldn't do it. I think that's disgusting. It's not my style. My sister's Orthodox Jewish. My brother-in-law's, who's a great friend and confidant, said half of my best men in my wedding and the bridesmaids in my wedding were Jewish. I would never do that. But what it really shows, unfortunately, it almost proves the point. I say something, rather than the media asking me about it, rather than saying, hey, Don, were you talking about the Holocaust? They jump, oh, my God, he's talking about the Holocaust.
Well, this was the Anti-Defamation League. You're answering it now.
It's the bias that I was talking about. If I say something, rather than talking about a great jobs plan, rather than talking about a great jobs for women plan, you know, they can't attack my father anymore. They've run out of ammo, so now they're going to attack me. You're going to have Cosmo trying to attack my sister. I understand that's the game that they're playing. But it goes to show my point, which I was making about media bias, which is that if you're a conservative, you don't even get a fair shot. They don't even give you the benefit of the doubt. And it's really a shame.
Well, that's why we wanted to have you come in and answer the questions
and I'm happy to do it, which is why I'm here,
yourself.
addressing it myself. But it's why less than a third of Americans even trust the media anymore. I mean, and those are from Gallup polls. So, you know, I think perhaps this does maybe media service to say, let's at least be honest about these conversations. Let's just not jump to slander people over something that they would clearly never say, especially when they have a history of using a similar line talking about the exact same thing time and time again.
Well, I think part of the reason the questions come up, and you've answered that question right now, you said you didn't have the Holocaust in mind, and part of the reason the questions come up is you've had other tweets from anti-Semitic individuals. You had an Instagram post last week, and we want to put it up here right now, that included Pepe the Frog, which is now a well-known symbol of the white supremacist movement, others in there who have been taken off Twitter because of their racist statements, others who have questioned whether the government was behind 9/11. That's why the questions come up.
George, if I'm glib, Perhaps that's the case. I'd never even heard of Pepe the Frog. I mean, I bet 90% of your viewers haven't heard of Pepe the Frog. I thought it was a frog in a wig. I thought it was funny. I had no idea that there's any connotation there. It's getting ridiculous, but again, that proves my point, which is that anything that they can possibly latch onto, they can't even attack my father anymore, because guess what? He's coming up with incredible policy, both economic, very aggressive policy in terms of, certainly for a Republican, coming out, you know, plan for working mothers, all of these things. They can't attack those things. They don't even have answers for those things. So what they do, they have to attack me, and that's okay. I'm fine if they go after me, because it just shows that they have nothing against the issues that really matter to Americans these days.
The other questions have come up, and you are Executive Vice President of the Trump Organization. You saw that Newsweek covered this week. We want to put that up there right now. And the article suggesting that the conflicts raised by the Trump Organization with so many different businesses in so many different countries demand that Mr. Trump sever all ties with the business during this campaign and if he becomes president. Will he?
If he becomes president, he will certainly do that. He said he would put these things in a blind trust. He will have nothing to do with it because he's much more concerned, and he said it to me, he's much more concerned about America, about putting Americans back to work, about getting jobs for America. The business that he's created is incredible, but he doesn't care. He said it's small potatoes relative to what he can do for his country that he loves so much.
But it's not a blind trust if you and your siblings are still running the company.
We're not going to be involved in government. We wouldn't be involved in government.
Then it's not a blind trust. You're running the company, and he's president. So any foreign individual...
But he's not making any decisions as it relates to the company. This is, I mean, this would be standard operating procedure for any president who's had businesses.
Actually...
I mean, you know, whether it was George Bush, whether it is, it's not going to have anything to do with it. And he said that very publicly. He said that a long time ago.
And George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton and Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate, all put their interest in a blind trust during the campaign. Your father has not done that.
Well, you know, he will certainly do it if he becomes president.
But a blind trust, it's not a blind trust if it's being run by his children.
It is, because he'll have nothing to do with it, George. He said that. He wants nothing to do with it. He wants to fix this country. He wants to get the country on the right track again.
So there will be a wall between you 100%. And your siblings and your father?
We won't talk to him about it. It's, in the grand scheme of things, it's a big company, but it's small potatoes compared to what he wants to do.
But he's still going to know.
He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need any of those things. What he wants to do is he wants to fix America.
He's still going to know what the businesses are, where they are.
We will not discuss,
because
we're not going to discuss those things. It doesn't matter. Trust me. As you know, it's a very full-time job. He doesn't need to worry about the business. The business is in good hands. He trusts us with that. 100%.
Junior, thanks very much for coming in this
Thank you very much, and thanks for not messing up my hair. I appreciate it. I got so much stuff in here. I'm not sure you could have. Thanks.
Let's go back over to Amy.
All right, George, thank you. And as we saw Hillary Clinton back on the campaign trail for the first time since her health scare, and ABC's Cecilia Vega was there as she made that return, and Cecilia joins us now from Washington, D.C. Good morning, Cecilia.
Amy, good morning to you. The last time Hillary Clinton was out in public was the day she nearly collapsed at the 9/11 memorial. She is back, and her return comes at a crucial time in this race.
Her first day back on the campaign trail, and just about every chance she got, Hillary Clinton said it.
I'm doing great.
It's great to be back on the campaign trail.
It's great to be back.
From the moment she stepped on the tarmac, a thumbs up, to the second she stepped on that North Carolina stage. I feel good. It was a day carefully choreographed to show just how good she feels.
I'm not great at taking it easy, even under ordinary circumstances, but with just 2 months to go until Election Day, sitting at home was pretty much the last place I wanted to be.
Overnight, former President Clinton on The Daily Show coming to her defense.
She still feels good. Big deal, she had pneumonia. People get it all the time.
But Hillary Clinton comes back to a race that is tighter than ever. National polls show her lead shrinking, and she is now in a tight battle with Trump in must-win battlegrounds like Florida and Virginia.
When you were home reflecting over these last 3 days, I wonder if you did any soul searching about these new poll numbers. Is there anything you should be doing differently right now in your campaign?
Cecilia, I've always said that this was going to be a tight race. I'm going to keep doing everything I can to deliver my message about what's at stake in this election.
An election she says she wants to be less about fighting and more about issues. And then she went on to slam her opponent.
Every time we think he's hit rock bottom, he sinks even lower.
Well, Well, Clinton's aides say that's the strategy, a focus less on Donald Trump and more on a positive vision for the country. But with that debate just 10 days away and with those polls tightening, we will see how long that lasts. George.
Okay, Cecilia, thanks very much. We're going to move on now to that official Samsung recall. The government warns that the Galaxy Note 7 could explode or burst into flames, so it's calling back nearly 1 million of them. ABC's David Curley has all the latest from Washington. Good morning, David.
Morning, George. 2 weeks into this serious hazard from a phone, and owners of the Samsung Note 7 can now get a refund because Samsung agreed to an official recall.
This morning, action. After the cases of burning, exploding phones, cars burning, even workplace overheating.
I was actually just sitting at my desk at work, and then it pretty much exploded.
Nearly 1 million brand new Samsung Note 7 sold in the U.S. recalled officially now after 92 reports of overheating, 26 people burned, and 55 pieces of property damaged. For 2 weeks, Samsung tried to exchange phones on its own, but it has now agreed to this official government recall.
That's 2 weeks with a dangerous battery out there. What happened here?
As a general matter, when companies go out alone, they don't benefit from our expertise. This is not the ideal way to run a process, and we discourage companies from handling it this way.
Samsung was only able to get 130,000 customers to exchange phones. That means more than 800,000 phones with defective lithium-ion batteries are still in circulation. But now with this government agreement to offer immediate refunds as well as replacements by Wednesday, the hope is those dangerous batteries will be exchanged. The company apologized at home in South Korea earlier this week, the U.S. division now releasing a prepared statement.
We did not meet the standard of excellence that you expect and deserve. For that, we apologize.
It was Samsung of America that told me the new phones will be available next Wednesday, but there are reports out of South Korea this morning saying that the new phones could be delayed there. No word on whether or not that will affect the U.S. as well, George.
Okay, David. And we've got other new phones out this morning. That iPhone 7, hard to get.
It is hard to get. A lot of pre-orders, and Apple says as of this morning, a limited quantity will be available in the stores. So if you go to a store, you might find one. But, George, this whole thing with the Samsung, it's really this bigger battle with Apple. I mean, this is a hot market, and it is extremely competitive.
Hot market. I get it. Okay, David, thanks very much.
All right, George, we now have some new details on that frightening attack in Manhattan. It happened yesterday afternoon when a man with a meat cleaver led police on a chase through Midtown, striking an officer before they eventually took him down. ABC's Gio Benitez is on the scene with more on what happened. Good morning, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. This is where the attack happened, one of America's busiest neighborhoods. And now we're told it appears to have started because of a boot on a car.
Get out of here. A shootout in the heart of Midtown Manhattan after a police officer was attacked with a meat cleaver. Police say the suspect, Akram Joda, seen here being taken away on a stretcher in this video obtained by WABC, attacked an off-duty detective with an 11-inch cleaver after police confronted him for trying to remove a boot from his car.
As we were pursuing him, and we have video of the incident, he has the cleaver in his hand and you can clearly see it, and he's waving it around.
A nearby officer using a taser to try to take the man down, but when that didn't work, cops shot the suspect, a total of 18 shots fired.
And we're told all three of those officers are recovering. They should be okay. That detective who was hit with the cleaver is said to be in good spirits. Amy and George.
And Amy, you and your girls were caught up in that last night.
Yeah, it was really scary. We were just a few blocks away, and thank goodness ended up taking the subway instead of walking down that street. By the time we got out, we saw helicopters and police, and we quickly went to our phones to see what happened. And it's just one of those frightening moments.
Really scary moment in Midtown. Now we got to go to Ginger, and that looks scary too.
Right, in New Mexico. So this is southeastern New Mexico, one of more than 60 severe storm reports from New Mexico all the way up into northeast Iowa. So it was a large area. You can see here Kansas, hail covering the ground. And a quick look at where those storms are moving now. Well, this morning it's been a loud one in Kansas City, right through eastern Iowa and west of Chicago. Let's get to the weekend getaway, brought to you by Capital One.
I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. You can go ahead and stick with that complicated credit card that limits where you earn bonus cash back. Or you can get the Quicksilver card from Capital One. Quicksilver earns you unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, everywhere. I shouldn't have to ask. What's in your wallet?
Well, get ready for a repeat of yesterday. That means cooler temperatures again to start in the mid-60s. By lunchtime, 73. Once again, though, I think we'll stay under the 80-degree mark. So that'll put us a degree or so below average. Now, the weekend, we're going to start warming up. Close to 90 on Sunday. You'll feel it with the higher humidity. We're tracking some rain chances Sunday afternoon, probably leaving and exiting the area around Monday morning.